This is little Ruth at Imperial Beach, the most southern beach in San Diego County. I am about 5 or 6 in this picture, and for context, I am currently 19 years old and I'm a native San Diegan, born and raised here. During that time in these pictures, I loved going to the beach. One day, though, I went swimming and my mom called me to come out from the water, and then she saw I had these red itchy spots on my body. And then my parents were like, "This is not normal," and then took me to the hospital. And then that's when you found out that these little rashes were caused by bacteria that can be only found in contaminated waters, such as the sewage spill off into our beach. Now imagine if I had a skin condition or cuts on my body. It could have been worse than just simply a rash scratch. I could have had a full-on bacterial infection. And to be completely honest, I haven't swam in those waters ever since, and it's been nearly a decade.
Thousands of locals like Ruth have been affected due to Tijuana's sewage runoff. Navy SEALs have gotten sick from training in these waters, pregnant women and children easily susceptible to these contaminated beaches. A recent SDSU study identified 392 chemical contaminants in the area, including heavy metals, pesticides, and toxic chemicals such as arsenic, which overwhelmed EPA's recommended amount by more than 28 times. Not only is it in our waters, but the air as well. High levels of hydrogen sulfide were found near elementary schools on both sides of the border. These impacts extend to wildlife, particularly in the Tijuana estuary, where a delicate system of endemic species and endangered seabirds are jeopardized. The fairy shrimp, for example, is a species only available to Tijuana and San Diego, with San Diego quite literally in its scientific name. They are not only natural filterers of bacteria, but are vital food resources for hundreds of migratory bird species, regularly traveling across the border. These are just a few examples. Despite their importance, they lack significant research on their population today. But arguably, the most significant obstacle is the horizontal political border which continues to divide us, that the mere existence of interfering with the natural landscape from San Diego to Tijuana inherently brings environmental tension.
The main causes for this decades-long crisis are primarily the lack of government funding and accountability on both sides, having overlooked this problem for so long up until now, years later.
Thus, in what ways can we reconnect with the people on both sides to respect the natural vertical gradient rather than the horizontal political border through a binational effort? What we propose is a public artwork, Flight Over Frontera, where borders exist, yet birds still fly. This piece will be placed on both sides of the border. A wooden compass will be built, demonstrating only the north and south of the natural gradient that these birds follow rather than the east to west political boundaries. 8 endangered estuary birds will surround the piece, and more can be added over time through community workshops and activities. The fairy shrimp, the main food source for these migratory birds, will be at its centerpiece, made from sea glass and glow-in-the-dark material, which will illuminate at night. The compass will be 370 inches in diameter for each currently endangered bird species in the estuary. All of the placards will be bilingual, accessible to any of those who view it. A 2D metal piece will then be placed on top of these transparent pedestals, showing the interiors of our future filtration systems. Then, as the sun comes up, the birds will cast a silhouette of their shadow onto the floor in a sundial effect, a memorial to these endangered bird species.
We would also like to activate our communities by having these companies and organizations like these in mind while making our project, as well as having the prospects of corporate partnerships, exchange programs, and even having museum exhibitions.
We hope that by constructing these pieces across multiple locations, we can excite younger and older generations to learn more about their local estuary and incite wonderful conversations between these neighboring cities.